at the office today, rather informal, as you might see. Let me pull up the mic here. Office day, going through some paperwork. Of course, we're just completing the second week of university teaching. There's a, last day a drop ad. There's always some crisis management that comes along with that. Also working on a research agenda. And then, of course, it's perpetual, always prepping for the next week of classes and what I need to deliver to the students. But in that, I was thinking more today, my perception, in my opinion, how university professors should communicate with students. Many times I have been told, and again, I haven't looked at Rate My Professor in years, but one time I was on there. Someone had stated I was too hard. The course I was teaching was introductory level, and Dr. Mueller is just too hard for that type of course. Other students have said I'm rigorous, I'm difficult at times. But then there's other occasions when students will come back to me several years out of the course or even out of university and tell me how much they remember the learning outcomes they attained in my courses. So I think, what is the proper balance? How do you communicate what you believe the responsibilities and requirements for your course and teaching should be? In that, I've got to state, life is more complex now. And I'm also involved, I'm faculty and residence. I'm involved heavily with housing here at university with over 3,000 students in housing. I run programs as a faculty member and student advisor in housing. So two elements to consider. One is the current state of mental health among students. It is a predominant problem. Universities across the country now have many, many resources to try to help students navigate mental health issues. So we have to be compassionate, consider the mental health dimensions of the students we are communicating with. Another part of that, though, I would suggest is the work life of students. This may have been prevalent in the past, but I've seen it more and more now just in casual discussion with students. Many are working 40 hours or more a week and trying to be full-time students with all of the preparation and activities that go along with university. Something has to give. And many times I've said this to students who are missing assignments, putting in subpar assignments. I'm going, look, I understand your life has many priorities. But please, don't let this coursework fall to the lowest priority. How do we do that gently and with compassion? I think about that more because I'm more on the sensitive side, the compassionate side, but yet I have to instill rigor. Or, as I say many times to my students, they are investing tuition money in my courses. And if I don't introduce that rigor to learn, the need to strive to put out a good deliverable each week, and again, in what I teach, that is surely part of the client and agency relationship. They have to have some prompting and motivation to perform at that level. But what I think I've learned most is to be kind, And when I introduce rigor, I always mirror that with the practical application. Why does this matter? Why do we have to learn this? And then coming from a long background in sport and entertainment marketing, I like to give examples of how that will play out, when that will make them more effective, when that will make them more competitive in their industries. I once had a professor said, don't tell war stories. They don't want to hear those old stories. But maybe as I age and have been an academic for a long time now, I think more about how do my war stories, and again, there's metaphor of war in that, maybe just instead of saying war stories, just to state my prior industry stories, how do they help a student gain context and understand? Because many of them are trying to live in a place where they're not really sure how they're going to pursue the job of their dreams. And as we know now, Artificial intelligence, and I'm teaching a new AI course, artificial intelligence is coming into the mix, and we're not sure what the job market's going to look like in the next month, 6 months, 1 year. So in all that, we learn and try to continue to understand the plight of the modern university student and to give them the best advantage we can offer to get them competitive and that they can have a job and, again, have good, fruitful careers into the future. So that's something I see, again, is not static. It's not always there. It's not always going to be the same. But I do believe we have to monitor and manage the state our current university students are in, and then reach them in that context, keeping that context relevant to what we're trying to communicate. More on that coming. I'm working on a new research project now that might delve more into some of the psychological motivators in mental health among students in university housing, and I'll keep you posted on that. So for today, that's it. Thinking and pondering more how we can always remain inside of our own environments and contribute to those around us.